Hello there, and welcome back. I'm glad you found your way here tonight. You've got nothing to do but rest. Let your mind relax, your breathing slow, and your body grow light. Because tonight we're going to explore the bizarre food economy of Red Dead Redemption 2. Red Dead Redemption 2 is a game obsessed with systems. Every mechanic feeds into another, every action has consequences, and every detail serves the larger simulation of life in 1899 America. But there's one system that stands out as particularly strange when you really examine it: the food economy. Not because it's broken, but because it's so meticulously designed that it creates situations no other game would even attempt. Rockstar built an entire nutritional simulation into their cowboy epic, and the results are fascinating, absurd, and occasionally hilarious. Most games treat food as an afterthought. You pick up health items, you use them when you're hurt, you move on. The food exists to serve gameplay, not to simulate reality. Red Dead Redemption 2 takes the opposite approach. Food in RDR2 is a comprehensive system that affects nearly every aspect of Arthur Morgan's existence. It determines his physical capabilities, his appearance, his relationship with his gang, and even his emotional journey through the story. The food economy isn't a feature, it's a philosophy. This philosophy emerges from Rockstar's broader design goals for RDR2. They wanted to create a living world, not just a game world. They wanted players to inhabit Arthur Morgan, not just control him. They wanted the frontier to feel real, with all the mundane necessities that reality entails. Food is one of those necessities. In the real world, people need to eat. In RDR2's world, Arthur needs to eat too. The food economy is Rockstar's commitment to simulation taken to its logical extreme. The result is a system that some players love and others find tedious. There's no middle ground with RDR2's food economy. Either you appreciate the depth and immersion it provides, or you resent the micromanagement it demands. This polarization is itself interesting. It reveals something about what different players want from games and how far simulation should go. Let's talk about what happens when you feed Arthur Morgan. Arthur has 3 core stats that govern his physical condition: health, stamina, and dead eye. These aren't just numbers that regenerate over time like in most games. They're tied to cores, inner circles that represent Arthur's underlying physical state. Your health bar might be full, but if your health core is drained, that bar will deplete faster and regenerate slower. The cores are the foundation, the bars are the expression. And the cores are governed almost entirely by what Arthur eats. The core system is RDR2's most distinctive mechanical innovation, and food is its primary fuel. Understanding cores is essential to understanding the food economy. Each core has 2 states, the inner core and the outer ring. The outer ring is what most games would call your health, stamina, or dead-eye bar. It depletes during use and regenerates over time. The inner core determines how fast the outer ring depletes and regenerates. A full core means slow depletion and fast regeneration. An empty core means fast depletion and slow regeneration. Food primarily affects the inner cores. When you eat, you're not just healing damage, you're restoring the underlying foundation that determines your performance. This is why food matters even when you're not injured. A well-fed Arthur performs better in every situation, not just combat. His stamina lasts longer during sprints, his dead-eye extends further during shootouts, his health regenerates faster between encounters. The food economy affects everything. The gold core state represents peak performance. When a core is gold, it won't drain at all for a period of time. Certain foods, particularly seasoned cooked meats, provide gold core effects. This creates a hierarchy of food quality. Basic food restores cores. Good food restores cores well. Excellent food provides gold cores. The food economy has tiers, and understanding those tiers is key to optimization. The fortified state is similar to gold cores but for the outer rings. Fortified health, stamina or dead-eye won't deplete for a time. Certain tonics and special foods provide fortification. The food economy intersects with the tonic economy, creating multiple paths to peak performance. This creates a situation where food isn't just a healing item you spam during combat. Food is a lifestyle choice. Food determines whether Arthur can sprint across a field without getting winded. Food determines whether he can survive a gunfight that goes longer than expected. Food determines whether his dead-eye lasts long enough to clear a room or runs out halfway through. In Red Dead Redemption 2, you are what you eat, and the game takes that literally. The weight system is where things get truly bizarre. Arthur can be underweight, average weight, or overweight, and each state has mechanical consequences. Underweight Arthur takes more damage but has better stamina regeneration. Overweight Arthur takes less damage but his stamina suffers. Average weight is the balanced middle ground. This sounds reasonable on paper, a trade-off system that lets players optimize for their playstyle. In practice, it means you're constantly monitoring a cowboy's caloric intake. The game tracks calories. Not visibly, not with a number you can see, but the underlying simulation is counting every piece of food Arthur consumes and comparing it to his activity level. Eat too little and Arthur loses weight. Eat too much and he gains it. The threshold for too much is surprisingly low, and the threshold for too little is surprisingly high. Most players playing normally end up with an underweight Arthur because the game's caloric math doesn't quite match how people actually play. Here's the thing, Arthur burns calories constantly. Walking burns calories, running burns calories, fighting burns calories, even just existing in the game world burns calories. The baseline metabolic rate Rockstar programmed into Arthur is aggressive. He's burning through energy like a marathon runner, even when he's just trotting his horse down a trail. To maintain average weight, you need to feed Arthur regularly and substantially. To gain weight, you need to stuff him like a Thanksgiving turkey. This leads to absurd gameplay moments. You're in the middle of a tense story mission, sneaking through enemy territory, and you pause to have Arthur eat 3 cans of beans, 2 pieces of cheese, and a chocolate bar. Not because he's injured, not because his cores are empty, because you checked his player menu and noticed he's trending toward underweight, and you want that damage resistance bonus. The dramatic tension of the narrative collides with the mundane necessity of calorie management. The food itself is remarkably diverse. Rockstar didn't just create food as a generic category. They created dozens of distinct food items, each with different effects on cores and weight. Canned goods restore cores moderately and provide decent calories. Cooked meat restores cores significantly and provides substantial calories. Candy and chocolate provide quick core boosts but minimal lasting benefit. Alcohol restores dead-eye but drains health. Coffee boosts stamina but doesn't help with weight. Every item has a purpose, a trade-off, a reason to exist in your satchel. The cooking system deserves its own examination because it's where the food economy gets genuinely complex. Arthur can cook meat at any campfire, but not all cooked meat is equal. Plain cooked meat is fine. But if you add herbs, oregano, thyme, mint, the meat becomes seasoned, and seasoned meat provides gold core effects that last longer and provide better restoration. This means the optimal food strategy involves not just hunting animals, but also gathering herbs, combining them correctly, and cooking at campfires rather than just eating raw provisions. The cooking animation is one of the game's most meditative moments. Arthur crouches by the fire, prepares the meat, watches it cook. The camera pulls in close, the fire crackles, time passes. You're not just pressing a button to convert raw meat into cooked meat, you're experiencing the process. The cooking animation transforms a mechanical action into an atmospheric moment. The cooking menu shows all available recipes and ingredients. You can see what you have, what you can make, what you're missing. The interface encourages experimentation, trying different combinations, discovering what works best. The cooking system has depth that rewards exploration. Multiple pieces of meat can be cooked in sequence, but each piece requires its own animation. Cooking a large batch of meat takes real time. This is another example of RDR2 prioritizing immersion over convenience. You feel the time investment of cooking, which makes the resulting food feel more valuable. The campfire placement affects cooking accessibility. You can set up camp almost anywhere in the wilderness, creating a cooking station wherever you need one. But you can also use existing campfires at gang camps, at stranger locations, at various points throughout the world. The game provides cooking opportunities generously, ensuring you're never too far from a fire. The camp's main fire serves as a cooking station and a social hub. Gang members gather around the fire, telling stories, playing music, sharing moments. Cooking at the main fire puts you in the middle of camp life. The food economy becomes social. You're not just cooking, you're participating in community. The scout fires scattered throughout the world offer cooking without the social element. These isolated campfires let you cook in solitude, away from the gang, alone with your thoughts. The food economy accommodates different moods. Sometimes you want company, sometimes you want solitude. You can spend a genuinely significant amount of time optimizing Arthur's diet. Hunting perfect deer for prime venison, gathering wild herbs from specific regions, cooking batches of seasoned big game meat at camp, storing it all in your satchel for later consumption. This is a cowboy game where meal prep is a viable gameplay loop. You can roleplay as a frontier nutritionist if you want to, and the game will support that fantasy completely. The hunting economy feeds directly into the food economy, creating interconnected systems that reward engagement. Every animal Arthur kills can be skinned, and most can be cooked. A single white-tailed deer provides multiple pieces of venison. A bison provides substantial big game meat. Even small animals like rabbits and squirrels provide meat, though in smaller quantities. The wilderness isn't just scenery, it's a grocery store with legs, and Arthur is shopping with a rifle. The animal behavior system makes hunting feel authentic. Animals have routines, territories, reactions to threats. Deer flee at the sound of gunshots. Predators stalk prey. Herds move together. The hunting economy is built on a foundation of animal simulation that makes each hunt feel like an encounter with a living creature, not just a resource node. Tracking animals adds skill to hunting. Following trails, reading signs, predicting animal movement, these skills develop as you play. The food economy rewards players who learn to hunt well, who understand animal behavior, who can find and kill efficiently. Hunting mastery translates to food abundance. The scent system affects hunting success. Animals can smell Arthur if the wind is wrong. Approaching from downwind increases your chances of a clean shot. The food economy connects to environmental awareness. You need to understand wind direction, terrain, cover. Hunting is a skill with multiple dimensions. The time of day affects animal spawns. Some animals are nocturnal, others diurnal. Hunting at the right time increases your chances of finding specific prey. The food economy has temporal rhythms. Certain foods are easier to obtain at certain times. The weather affects hunting as well. Rain can mask your scent and sound. Snow makes tracking easier but movement harder. The food economy responds to weather conditions, creating variety in the hunting experience. Predator encounters add danger to hunting. While you're stalking deer, a cougar might be stalking you. The food economy has risks. The wilderness provides food, but it also threatens your life. Hunting isn't safe, and that danger makes success more satisfying. The legendary animal hunts represent the food economy's apex predators. These unique creatures are the ultimate hunting challenges. Difficult to find, difficult to kill, rewarding to conquer. The legendary hunts are about more than food, but they emerge from the same hunting systems that provide your daily meals. But here's where it gets strange. The economic value of meat doesn't match its nutritional value. You can sell cooked meat to butchers, but the prices are terrible. A piece of seasoned venison that took time to hunt, skin, and cook sells for pocket change. Meanwhile, the same deer's pelt might be worth several dollars. The game is telling you, through its economy, that meat is for eating, not for selling. The pelts are the commodity, the meat is the byproduct. This matches historical reality. In the actual Old West, hunters often took only the valuable parts of animals and left the rest, but it creates a gameplay situation where you're accumulating meat faster than you can possibly eat it. The satchel becomes a portable butcher shop. By mid-game, most players have dozens of pieces of meat in various states of preparation. Cooked venison, raw mutton, seasoned big game, plain pork. It accumulates because you're hunting for pelts and challenges, and the meat just comes along for the ride. You couldn't eat it all if you tried. Arthur would become spherical. The game gives you more food than any reasonable person could consume, and then penalises you for being overweight if you actually try to consume it. The satchel upgrade system affects the food economy significantly. The basic satchel has limited capacity for each item type. Upgraded satchels hold more. The Legend of the East satchel, the ultimate upgrade, holds 99 of each item. This transforms the food economy from scarcity to abundance. With the best satchel, you'll never run out of food again. Crafting the upgraded satchels requires perfect pelts from specific animals. The food economy connects to the crafting economy, which connects to the hunting economy. To carry more food, you need to hunt better. The systems interlock, each one feeding into the others. The item wheel interface affects how you interact with food. Selecting food items during gameplay requires navigating menus, which takes time and breaks immersion. The interface design makes eating slightly inconvenient, which might be intentional. It prevents food from becoming a spamable instant heal. The food economy is shaped by its interface as much as its mechanics. The quick select options let you assign food items to shortcuts, reducing the friction of eating. Players who engage seriously with the food economy learn to optimize their quick select loadouts, keeping their best food items accessible for emergencies. The interface becomes part of the strategy. The animation time for eating creates tactical considerations. Arthur doesn't eat instantly. He takes time to consume food during which he's vulnerable. In combat, eating is risky. You need to find cover, create space, buy time to eat. The food economy has combat implications that reward planning over reaction. The camp food system adds another layer of complexity. Arthur isn't just feeding himself, he's contributing to a community. The gang's camp has a food supply that depletes over time as members eat. Arthur can donate food to Pearson, the camp cook, who converts it into stew that the whole gang shares. This creates a moral dimension to hunting. You're not just gathering resources for yourself, you're providing for your family. The game tracks your contributions and gang members comment on whether the camp is well fed or struggling. Pearson's stew is its own fascinating mechanic. Every day, Pearson makes a pot of stew from whatever ingredients are available. The quality of the stew depends on what's been donated. If the camp has plenty of meat, the stew is hearty and provides good core restoration. If the camp is low on supplies, the stew is thin and provides minimal benefit. You can eat from the pot once per in-game day, and it's free, no cost from your own supplies. This incentivizes keeping the camp stocked even if you personally have plenty of food. But here's the bizarre part. The gang eats whether you feed them or not. The food supply depletes automatically as time passes. If you ignore the camp entirely, never donate anything, the food supply will eventually hit zero. Gang members will complain. Morale will suffer. But nobody actually starves. The simulation has limits. Rockstar wasn't willing to let Dutch van der Linde die of hunger because the player forgot to bring back some venison. The food system creates pressure and atmosphere without creating failure states. The morale system connects to the food economy in ways that affect the entire camp experience. Well-fed camps have higher morale. Gang members are happier, more talkative, more engaged. Low food supplies create tension, complaints, a sense of desperation. The food economy shapes the emotional atmosphere of your home base. A prosperous camp feels different from a struggling camp, and food is a major factor in that difference. The camp activities change based on food supply. When food is plentiful, gang members engage in leisure activities, playing games, telling stories, relaxing. When food is scarce, the mood darkens. People argue more. Tensions rise. The food economy affects NPC behavior in ways that make the camp feel alive and responsive. The donation system tracks your contributions comprehensively. The ledger at camp shows who's donated what, creating a record of each gang member's contributions. Arthur can see that he's been carrying the camp while others contribute little. This creates character dynamics. You might resent gang members who don't pull their weight, appreciate those who do. The food economy generates social judgments. The camp upgrades connect to the food economy through the ledger system. Donating money unlocks upgrades that improve camp life. Better provisions, better equipment, better amenities. The food economy becomes investment, with returns that benefit everyone. Upgrading the provisions improves the quality of Pearson's stew, making the free daily meal more valuable. Dutch's tent and its upgrades represent the gang's priorities. You can upgrade Dutch's quarters to be more luxurious, which affects morale but not food. The choice between investing in food versus investing in comfort reflects the gang's values. Do you prioritize survival or status? The food economy exists alongside other resource allocation decisions. The ammunition and medical supplies at camp parallel the food system. These resources also deplete over time and can be restocked through donations. The camp economy is multifaceted: food, medicine, ammunition. and managing all three creates a comprehensive survival simulation. The food economy is one piece of a larger resource management puzzle. This is a recurring theme in RDR2's survival mechanics. They create the feeling of survival without the frustration of actual survival games. You need to eat, but you won't die if you don't. You need to sleep, but exhaustion won't kill you. You need to maintain your weapons, but they won't break permanently. The systems are present enough to create immersion and absent enough to prevent tedium. It's a careful balance, and the food economy sits right at the centre of it. The restaurants and saloons add commercial food to the equation. Arthur can walk into any saloon and order a meal. He can sit at a table in the Valentine Hotel and eat a full dinner. He can grab canned goods from the general store. These options cost money, but save time. No hunting, no cooking, no campfire required. The game presents a choice between self-sufficiency and convenience, between the frontier lifestyle and the emerging commercial economy of the late 1800s. The prices at restaurants are historically appropriate and gameplay relevant. A meal at a saloon costs about $1, significant money in 1899, but affordable for a successful outlaw. The meal provides substantial core restoration and contributes to weight gain. For players who don't want to engage with hunting and cooking, restaurants offer a viable alternative. You can play the entire game eating exclusively at saloons if you want to. It's more expensive and less optimal, but it works. The restaurant menus vary by location and establishment. A fancy restaurant in Saint Denis offers different options than a frontier saloon in Valentine. The food economy reflects regional and class differences through its commercial offerings. Where you eat says something about who you are and where you are. The hotel meals add another dining option. Staying at a hotel often includes a meal, combining lodging with food. The hotel economy and the food economy overlap, creating package deals that serve multiple needs. A night at the hotel restores cores through sleep and provides food for the morning. The bathhouses offer meals alongside bathing services. You can get clean and fed in one stop, addressing multiple bodily needs efficiently. The food economy integrates with other service economies, creating comprehensive self-care options. The waitress interactions add personality to restaurant dining. These NPCs have dialogue, reactions, personalities. Ordering food becomes a social interaction, not just a menu selection. The food economy has a human face in the form of the people who serve you. The tipping system lets you express generosity or stinginess through restaurant interactions. Leaving a good tip affects nothing mechanically, but says something about Arthur's character. The food economy connects to role-playing through small choices that define who you're playing. The time spent eating in restaurants is real time. Arthur sits, orders, waits, eats. The meal takes minutes, not seconds. The food economy respects the reality of dining. Eating takes time, and the game makes you experience that time. It's another example of RDR2 prioritizing immersion over convenience. This creates an interesting class dynamic within the game's economy. Poor Arthur, early in the game, might need to hunt for food because he can't afford restaurants. Wealthy Arthur, flush with robbery proceeds, might never cook a meal because he can just buy dinner every night. The food system reflects economic status. How you feed Arthur says something about how you're playing the game, about what kind of outlaw you're choosing to be. The alcohol economy intersects with food in complicated ways. Whiskey, beer, and other drinks restore the Deadeye core but drain the health core. This creates a trade-off. Do you want better shooting or better survivability? For players who rely heavily on Deadeye, keeping a stock of alcohol makes sense. For players who prefer straight gunfights, alcohol is a liability. The game doesn't judge either approach, it just presents the options and lets you decide. Drinking too much has consequences beyond core effects. Arthur can get drunk, which affects his movement and his interactions with NPCs. Stumbling through Valentine at midnight, slurring at strangers, the game simulates intoxication with uncomfortable accuracy. You can pass out drunk and wake up somewhere unexpected. The food and drink systems aren't just about stats. They're about role-playing, about creating moments that feel authentic to the setting and the character. The drunk mechanics are surprisingly detailed. Arthur's vision blurs, his movement becomes unsteady, his dialogue changes. NPCs react to his intoxication, some with amusement, others with disgust. The alcohol economy creates a complete simulation of drunkenness, not just a stat modifier. The blackout mechanic can transport Arthur to unexpected locations. Drink too much and you might wake up in a field, on a roof, in a place you don't remember travelling to. The alcohol economy has consequences that extend beyond the drinking session itself. Your choices follow you into the next day. The hangover effects persist after heavy drinking. Cores might be depleted, performance might suffer. The alcohol economy has delayed consequences. The fun of drinking is followed by the cost of recovery. The game simulates the full cycle of intoxication and its aftermath. The social drinking opportunities create bonding moments. Drinking with Lenny and Valentine is one of the game's most memorable sequences. A night of escalating drunkenness that becomes legendary among players. The alcohol economy enables social experiences that transcend individual consumption. The saloon atmosphere makes drinking feel appropriate to the setting, the music, the crowd, the bartender. Saloons are designed as drinking spaces, and the alcohol economy fits naturally into these environments. Drinking in a saloon feels right in ways that drinking alone in the wilderness doesn't. The moonshine economy adds illegal alcohol to the mix. You can find moonshine in various locations, often associated with criminal activity. The alcohol economy has a black market dimension. Not all drinks are legal, and some come with additional risks or rewards. Coffee deserves special mention because it's the anti-alcohol. Coffee restores stamina cores and provides a temporary boost to stamina regeneration. It's the productivity drink, the thing you consume when you need to get things done. In a game full of whiskey-soaked saloons and campfire drinking sessions, coffee represents the sober, working side of frontier life. Arthur can be a drunk or a coffee addict or both, and the game supports either lifestyle. The coffee economy reflects the historical importance of coffee in the American West. Cowboys and outlaws ran on coffee. It was the fuel that kept people moving through long days and cold nights. The game captures this by making coffee genuinely useful. Not just a novelty item, but a practical tool for maintaining stamina during demanding activities. When you're about to attempt a long ride or a challenging mission, brewing coffee at camp makes mechanical sense. The camp coffee pot is a small but meaningful detail. Every morning, Pearson brews coffee that gang members can drink for free. It's another communal resource, another way the camp functions as a community. The coffee pot creates moments of domestic normalcy. Arthur pouring himself a cup before heading out. Gang members gathered around the fire with their morning brew. The food economy extends to beverages, and beverages extend to daily rituals. The temperature system intersects with food and drink in subtle ways. Cold weather drains cores faster, making food more necessary. Hot weather has different effects. The game simulates how environment affects metabolism, how survival needs change with conditions. A meal that sustains you in the heartlands might not be enough in the grizzlies. The food economy responds to the world around you. Clothing affects the temperature system, which affects the food economy indirectly. Wearing warm clothes in cold weather reduces core drain, reducing food needs. Wearing inappropriate clothes increases core drain, increasing food needs. Your wardrobe choices have nutritional consequences. The systems interconnect in ways that reward holistic thinking about Arthur's condition. The bathing economy parallels food in interesting ways. Arthur gets dirty over time, and NPCs react to his cleanliness. Bathing at hotels restores cores and improves social interactions. It's another bodily maintenance system, another way the game tracks Arthur's physical state. The food economy exists alongside hygiene, sleep, and other survival systems that together create a comprehensive simulation of frontier life. Sleep affects the food economy through core restoration. Sleeping restores cores over time, reducing the immediate need for food. A well-rested Arthur needs less food than an exhausted Arthur. This creates strategic choices. Do you eat to restore cores quickly, or sleep to restore them gradually? The food economy interacts with the sleep economy, and players learn to balance both. The tobacco economy parallels food in interesting ways. Cigarettes, cigars, and chewing tobacco all restore dead-eye cores. They're consumables that serve a similar function to food but for a different stat. The game doesn't moralize about tobacco use. It's 1899, everyone smokes, and the health consequences weren't understood. Arthur can chain smoke his way across the frontier, and the only consequence is that he'll need to buy more cigarettes. The period accuracy extends to the casual acceptance of habits we now know are harmful. Provisions versus cooked food creates a strategic choice that most players eventually optimize. Provisions, canned goods, crackers, candy are convenient. They don't spoil, they stack efficiently, they can be consumed instantly. But they're less effective than properly cooked meat. A can of beans restores less than a piece of seasoned venison. The game rewards players who engage with its cooking system, while still providing alternatives for those who don't want to bother. The spoilage system adds time pressure to certain foods. Raw meat will spoil if you carry it too long without cooking it. This encourages immediate processing. Kill a deer, cook the meat right away. Don't let it rot in your satchel. It's another small touch of realism that shapes player behaviour. You can't just stockpile raw meat indefinitely. The simulation has rules, and those rules push you towards certain patterns of play. Fish occupy a strange niche in the food economy. Fishing is a major activity in RDR2, with its own equipment, techniques, and legendary targets. But fish as food are underwhelming. They restore cores adequately but don't provide the weight gain or gold core effects of big game meat. The fishing system exists more for its own sake, for the relaxation, for the challenge, for the legendary fish quest, than as a food source. You fish because fishing is enjoyable, not because you need the calories. The fishing economy deserves deeper examination because it reveals the game's priorities. Fishing requires specific equipment, rods, lures, bait, that must be purchased or found. The investment in fishing gear is significant, but the return on that investment, measured in food value, is poor. Fish don't provide enough nutrition to justify the time and money spent catching them. The fishing economy is deliberately inefficient as a food source. This inefficiency is the point. Fishing in RDR2 isn't about efficiency, it's about experience. Standing by a river, casting your line, waiting for a bite. These moments are valuable for their own sake, not for what they produce. The food economy acknowledges this by making fish adequate but not optimal. You can survive on fish if you want to, but you're choosing the experience over the efficiency. The legendary fish quest exemplifies this philosophy. Catching all 13 legendary fish is a significant undertaking that provides no meaningful food benefit. The legendary fish are trophies, not meals. You catch them for the achievement, for the challenge, for the satisfaction of completion. The food economy steps aside for the collection economy, acknowledging that some activities transcend nutritional value. Different fish species have different values, both monetary and nutritional. Larger fish provide more meat. Rarer fish sell for more money. But even the best fish can't compete with big game meat for core restoration. The hierarchy is clear: land animals for food, fish for sport. The food economy has preferences, and it communicates them through mechanical design. The bait system adds complexity to fishing without adding much to the food economy. Different baits attract different fish. Choosing the right bait for your target requires knowledge and planning. But all this complexity serves the fishing experience, not the food supply. You're optimizing for catch rate, not for calories. The bait economy is adjacent to the food economy, but not really part of it. Cooking fish follows the same patterns as cooking meat. You can cook fish plain or with herbs for enhanced effects. Seasoned fish provides gold core restoration, but even seasoned fish doesn't match seasoned big game meat. The cooking system treats fish as a secondary food source, adequate but not preferred. If you're cooking fish, it's because you want to, not because it's optimal. The legendary animals create a food economy paradox. These unique creatures, the legendary bear, the legendary elk, the legendary panther, provide special pelts that can be crafted into unique items. But they also provide meat. Legendary animal meat isn't special. It's just regular meat from an irregular source. You can eat the legendary bear if you want to. The game doesn't stop you. It just feels wrong, like you're wasting something rare on something mundane. The trapper economy intersects with food in ways that highlight the game's priorities. The trapper buys pelts and crafts unique clothing and equipment. He doesn't care about meat. You can bring him a perfect grizzly bear pelt worth substantial money, and he'll take it gladly. The meat from that bear? Worthless to him. The trapper represents the commercial side of hunting, the part that turns animals into commodities. The meat represents the subsistence side, the part that keeps you alive. These two economies coexist but rarely overlap. This separation reflects historical reality. In the actual Old West, commercial hunters and subsistence hunters were often different people with different goals. Buffalo hunters killed for hides and left carcasses to rot on the plains. Settlers hunted for food and used every part of the animal. RDR2 lets you be both kinds of hunter, but it keeps the economies separate. Your pelts go to the trapper or the butcher. Your meat goes into your stomach or Pearson's stew pot. The butcher economy adds another layer of complexity. Every town has a butcher who buys animal products, pelts, carcasses, meat, feathers. The prices vary by quality and by what you're selling. A perfect pelt is worth more than a good pelt, which is worth more than a poor pelt. But the butcher will buy meat too, even if the prices are terrible. This creates a choice. Eat the meat yourself, donate it to camp, or sell it for pocket change. Most players choose the first two options because the third barely seems worth the effort. The quality system affects food as well as pelts. Animals come in 3 quality levels: poor, good and perfect, determined by the animal's condition and how you kill it. A clean kill with the right weapon preserves quality. A messy kill with the wrong weapon degrades it. This matters for pelts, obviously, but it also affects the meat. Higher quality animals provide more meat and better meat. A perfect deer gives you more venison than a poor deer. The hunting skill that improves your pelt quality also improves your food supply. This creates interesting decisions in the field. You spot a deer, but it's only good quality, not perfect. Do you take the shot anyway? The pelt won't be worth as much, but you'll still get meat. If you're hunting primarily for food, quality matters less. If you're hunting for the trapper or for money, quality matters more. The food economy and the commercial economy pull in different directions, and you have to decide which one you're serving with each hunt. The weapon selection for hunting ties into the food economy indirectly. Different animals require different weapons for clean kills. Small game needs the varmint rifle. Medium game needs the repeater or rifle. Large game needs the rifle or bow. Using the wrong weapon damages the carcass and reduces quality. This means your hunting loadout affects your food supply. If you're carrying the wrong weapons, you might get meat, but you won't get as much of it. The bow deserves special attention because it's the most versatile hunting weapon and the most connected to the food economy's themes. The bow is quiet, allowing you to hunt without alerting nearby animals. The bow uses different arrow types for different game. The bow feels primitive, connected to older ways of living. When Arthur hunts with a bow, he's participating in a tradition that predates the civilization encroaching on the frontier. The bow is the weapon of self-sufficiency, and the food it provides feels earned in a way that rifle kills don't quite match. Small game hunting reveals the food economy's attention to detail. Rabbits, squirrels, birds. These tiny creatures provide small amounts of meat that barely seem worth the effort, but they're everywhere. Easy to find, easy to kill. A player who's run out of big game meat can survive on small game if necessary. It's not optimal, but it works. The game provides multiple paths to nutrition, from the efficient, big game hunting to the desperate, eating every squirrel you see. The bird economy is particularly strange. Birds provide feathers, which are valuable for crafting. Birds also provide meat, which is nearly worthless. A flight feather might be worth more than the entire bird's meat. This creates situations where you're hunting birds for feathers and accumulating bird meat as an unwanted byproduct. Your satchel fills with duck breast and pheasant meat that you'll probably never eat because you have better options. The bird economy is the food economy at its most absurd. Valuable feathers attached to worthless meat. Exotic meat adds variety without adding much utility. Alligator meat from the bayou, snake meat from the swamps, iguana meat from Guam. These exotic options restore cores adequately but don't provide any special benefits. They exist for flavour, for the sense that different regions offer different culinary experiences. Eating alligator in the bayou feels appropriate to the setting, even if it's mechanically identical to eating venison in the heartlands. The Guam chapter creates a unique food economy situation. Stranded on a tropical island, Arthur loses access to his satchel, his weapons, his horse. The food economy resets to survival basics. You're eating whatever you can find, tropical fruits, small animals, whatever the island provides. It's a brief glimpse of what RDR2 might have been as a pure survival game, stripped of the abundance that characterizes the main map. When you return to America, the contrast is striking. The frontier suddenly feels like a land of plenty. The stranger missions occasionally involve food in unexpected ways. There's a hermit living in the woods who you can bring food to. There are hungry travelers on the road who ask for provisions. The game creates small moments where food becomes a tool for interaction, for building relationships, for expressing Arthur's character. Giving food to someone in need increases honor. The food economy connects to the morality system, making your dietary choices matter beyond just stats. The honor system's connection to food creates meaningful choices. When a stranger asks for food, you can give it freely, refuse, or even rob them. Each choice affects your honor and your relationship with the world. The food economy becomes a moral economy. Your abundance or scarcity, your generosity or selfishness, expressed through what you're willing to share. The homeless veterans in Saint Denis represent the food economy's intersection with social commentary. These men, broken by war, beg for money and food on the streets of the city. You can help them or ignore them. The food economy makes their hunger tangible. You have provisions in your satchel. They have nothing. The choice to share or withhold is yours, and the game tracks your decision. The widow Charlotte Balfour is one of the most memorable food-related stranger missions. Her husband has died, leaving her alone in the wilderness without survival skills. Arthur can teach her to hunt, to shoot, to survive. The food economy becomes education. You're not just giving her food, you're teaching her to feed herself. It's one of the most touching storylines in the game, and it's built around the food economy. If you complete Charlotte's missions as Arthur, she survives. If you visit her as John in the epilogue, she's thriving, hunting her own food, living independently, transformed by what Arthur taught her. The food economy creates a legacy that outlasts Arthur himself. His knowledge, his skills, his relationship with survival, these live on through Charlotte. The veteran stranger mission involves a former soldier struggling with trauma and isolation. You can bring him food, spend time with him, help him reconnect with life. The food economy becomes therapy, sharing meals as a way of building human connection. The veteran story is about more than food, but food is the medium through which connection happens. Mickey, the one-armed veteran in Valentine, asks for money rather than food, but the dynamic is similar. He represents the people left behind by society, the ones who depend on others' generosity. The food economy exists alongside a broader economy of charity and neglect. How you treat Mickey says something about how you treat the vulnerable. The survivalist challenges formalize the food economy into structured objectives. Catch certain fish, kill certain animals, cook certain recipes. These challenges push players to engage with systems they might otherwise ignore. You might never cook seasoned big game meat if the game didn't specifically ask you to. The challenges serve as tutorials disguised as achievements, teaching players the depth of the food system through explicit goals. The survivalist challenge progression reveals the food economy's depth gradually. Early challenges are simple: catch a few fish, kill a few animals. Later challenges require specific techniques, specific recipes, specific knowledge. By the time you complete all survivalist challenges, you've mastered the food economy whether you intended to or not. The challenge system is educational design disguised as achievement hunting. The rewards for survivalist challenges reinforce engagement with the food economy. Completing challenges unlocks equipment, abilities and bonuses that make survival easier. The game rewards mastery with tools for further mastery. Players who engage deeply with the food economy receive benefits that make that engagement more rewarding. It's a positive feedback loop that encourages continued investment. The other challenge categories intersect with food in various ways. Hunting challenges require killing specific animals, which produces meat as a byproduct. Herbalist challenges require gathering plants, some of which are cooking ingredients. Weapons expert challenges might involve hunting, which produces food. The challenge system weaves the food economy into multiple progression paths. The compendium tracks your food economy engagement comprehensively. Every animal you've killed, every fish you've caught, every plant you've gathered, it's all recorded. The compendium transforms the food economy into a collection game, encouraging completionist players to experience everything the system offers. Filling out the compendium requires engaging with the full breadth of the food economy. The study mechanic adds another layer to animal encounters. Before you can track an animal's information in the compendium, you need to study it with binoculars. This encourages observation before hunting, patience before killing. The study mechanic slows down the hunting process in ways that serve immersion. You're not just shooting animals for meat, you're learning about them first. Herbalism intersects with food in ways that reward exploration. Wild carrots, wild mint, oregano, thyme. These plants grow in specific regions and serve specific purposes. Learning where to find them, recognizing them in the environment, gathering them efficiently, this becomes its own mini-game. The food economy extends beyond animals to plants, beyond hunting to foraging. The frontier provides if you know where to look. The herb locations create geographic knowledge that accumulates over time. You learn that oregano grows near Emerald Ranch. You learn that thyme is common in the heartlands. You learn that wild mint appears near water. This knowledge transforms how you move through the world. You're not just travelling from point A to point B. You're scanning the environment for useful plants, building mental maps of where resources grow. The food economy turns exploration into foraging, and foraging into expertise. Crafting with herbs extends beyond cooking. You can make tonics, medicines, and other consumables from gathered plants. Health tonics, stamina tonics, dead-eye tonics. These powerful items require specific herb combinations. The same plants that season your meat also create potions that enhance your abilities. The herbalism system serves multiple purposes, and the food economy is just one of them. The recipe pamphlets add a collection element to cooking. Scattered throughout the world are pamphlets that teach Arthur new recipes, special ammunition, potent tonics, enhanced consumables. Some of these recipes involve food. Learning them expands your culinary options, giving you more ways to use the ingredients you gather. The food economy has progression, a sense that you're becoming more skilled at frontier cooking as you play. The fence economy intersects with food through stolen goods. Fences buy items that legitimate merchants won't touch: stolen jewellery, looted valuables, contraband. But fences also sell certain provisions and recipes. The criminal economy and the food economy overlap at the fence, creating situations where your outlaw activities fund your nutritional needs. Rob a stagecoach, sell the loot to a fence, buy provisions with the proceeds. Crime feeds you, literally. The general store economy is the most straightforward part of the food system. Every town has a general store that sells provisions, canned goods, crackers, chocolate, coffee. The prices are consistent, the selection is predictable, the transaction is simple. Walk in, buy food, walk out. For players who don't want to engage with hunting and cooking, general stores provide a reliable food supply. It's not optimal, but it's convenient. The catalogue system lets you order provisions by mail. Flip through the catalogue at any post office or camp, select what you want, and it arrives at your camp or a post office. This adds convenience at the cost of time. You have to wait for delivery. The catalogue represents the emerging mail order economy of the late 1800s, the Sears Roebuck catalogues that brought consumer goods to rural America. Even the food economy reflects historical commerce. The horse food economy runs parallel to Arthur's. Horses need to eat too. They have their own cause, their own stamina, their own health. Feeding your horse maintains its performance and builds your bond with it. Hay, oats, carrots, apples. Horses have their own dietary preferences and requirements. You're not just managing one creature's nutrition, you're managing two. The food economy doubles when you consider that Arthur is always travelling with a companion who also needs to eat. Horse treats create interesting strategic choices. Wild carrots restore horse cores and can be found for free in the environment. Hay and oats must be purchased but provide better restoration. Premium horse food costs more but provides the best effects. How much you're willing to spend on your horse's diet reflects how much you value that horse. A beloved thoroughbred might get premium oats. A temporary stolen horse might get whatever wild carrots you happen to find. The camp's horses add another layer. The gang has multiple horses and they all need to be fed. The horse station at camp has its own supply that depletes over time. Arthur can contribute to this supply, ensuring the gang's horses stay healthy. It's another communal responsibility, another way the game makes you feel like part of a group rather than a lone protagonist. The economic absurdity peaks when you consider the math of hunting. A perfect deer pelt might sell for $10. The meat from that deer might sell for 50 cents. But the time spent hunting, skinning and transporting that deer could have been spent robbing a stagecoach for hundreds of dollars. The food economy doesn't make financial sense. You hunt because you want to, because the game makes it satisfying, because it fits the fantasy of frontier life. You don't hunt because it's the optimal way to make money. This is intentional design. Rockstar didn't want hunting to be the best money-making strategy. They wanted it to be a lifestyle choice, an activity you engage with for its own rewards. The food you gather is the real value. The self-sufficiency, the connection to the land, the satisfaction of providing for yourself and your gang. The pelts are a bonus, the money is secondary, the experience is primary. The contrast with Saint Denis highlights how the food economy changes with setting. In the wilderness, food comes from hunting and foraging. In the city, food comes from stores and restaurants. Saint Denis has multiple dining options, from cheap saloons to upscale establishments. The prices are higher, the atmosphere is different, but the mechanical function is the same. The game adapts its food economy to its environments, making urban Arthur and rural Arthur feel like different experiences. Saint Denis represents the future that's coming for the frontier. It's a city where you can't hunt, where foraging is impossible, where food comes exclusively from commercial sources. The food economy in Saint Denis is entirely transactional. Money for meals, no alternatives. This is what civilization looks like, and it's what the entire West will eventually become. The food economy in Saint Denis is a preview of a world where self-sufficiency is no longer possible. The contrast is sharpest when you leave Saint Denis and return to the wilderness. Suddenly you can hunt again. Suddenly you can cook at campfires. Suddenly you're self-sufficient in ways that the city didn't allow. The food economy makes the wilderness feel like freedom and the city feel like dependence. This isn't accidental. It's the game using its systems to reinforce its themes. Valentine represents a middle ground in the food economy. It's a town, but it's a frontier town. You can buy meals at the saloon, but you can also hunt in the surrounding countryside. The general store sells provisions, but the wilderness is right outside. Valentine is civilization at its earlier stage, still connected to the land, not yet fully commercial. The food economy in Valentine feels balanced in ways that Saint Denis doesn't. Rhodes and its surrounding area offer yet another food economy variation. The Lemoyne region has different animals, different plants, different culinary possibilities, alligators in the swamps, exotic birds in the bayou. The food economy adapts to the environment, and the environment in Lemoyne is distinctly southern. Eating alligator meat while camped in the swamp creates a sense of place that generic food items couldn't achieve. Strawberry and the Big Valley region emphasize the hunting side of the food economy. Dense forests, abundant wildlife, few commercial options. This is where the food economy feels most like a survival game, where hunting and cooking are necessities rather than choices. The Big Valley rewards players who engage with the food system and challenges players who ignore it. The Grizzlies represent the food economy at its most demanding. Cold weather drains cores faster. Wildlife is sparse in some areas. The environment is hostile. Surviving in the mountains requires preparation, bringing enough food, knowing where to hunt, understanding how the cold affects your needs. The food economy in the Grizzlies is the game at its most survival-focused. New Austin, accessible in the epilogue, offers a different food economy again. Desert environment, different animals, different challenges. Armadillos and cougars instead of deer and elk. The food economy adapts to the arid landscape, and players who've mastered hunting in the heartlands need to learn new patterns for the desert. The epilogue shifts the food economy again. Playing as John Marston on Beecher's Hope, you're no longer an outlaw on the run. You're a rancher trying to build a legitimate life. The food economy becomes domestic. You're raising cattle, not hunting deer. You're building a home, not surviving in the wilderness. The same systems persist, but their context changes. Food goes from survival necessity to agricultural product. John's relationship with food feels different from Arthur's. Arthur was a hunter, comfortable in the wilderness, skilled at living off the land. John is trying to be a farmer, learning new skills, adapting to a different lifestyle. The food economy reflects this character difference. John's journey is about transformation, about leaving the outlaw life behind, and his relationship with food is part of that transformation. The ranch economy in the epilogue transforms food from survival necessity to commercial product. You're raising cattle for sale, not hunting deer for dinner. The food economy becomes agricultural, focused on production rather than consumption. John's meals come from the rancher's supplies, from Abigail's cooking, from the domestic life he's building. The outlaw's relationship with food gives way to the rancher's relationship with food. Building Beecher's Hope involves food infrastructure. You construct a chicken coop, establish livestock areas, create the foundations of a working ranch. The food economy becomes construction, investment, long-term planning. John isn't just eating, He's building systems that will produce food for years to come. The epilogue's food economy is forward-looking in ways that Arthur's never was. Abigail's role in the epilogue food economy reflects domestic gender roles of the period. She cooks meals, manages the household, provides the domestic stability that John is learning to appreciate. The food economy becomes a site of family dynamics, of relationship building, of the normal life John always wanted. Eating Abigail's cooking is different from eating Pearson's stew. It's intimate, personal, familial. Jack's presence adds another dimension to the epilogue food economy. You're not just feeding yourself, you're providing for a child for the next generation. The food economy becomes parental, responsible, future-oriented. John's hunting and ranching serve his family's needs, not just his own survival. The stakes of the food economy shift from personal to familial. Uncle remains a freeloader in the epilogue, consistent with his character throughout the game. He eats without contributing, complains without working, takes without giving. The food economy continues to reinforce character traits even as the setting changes. Uncle's relationship with food tells the same story in the epilogue that it told in the main game. The bizarre peak of the food economy might be the moments when it collides with the narrative. Arthur is dying of tuberculosis, wasting away, and the game still tracks his weight. You can try to keep him fed, try to maintain his strength, but the disease is winning. The food economy becomes tragic. All your careful nutrition management can't save him. The systems that governed his physical state throughout the game become reminders of his mortality. You're feeding a dying man, and the game knows it. The tuberculosis progression affects the food economy mechanically. As Arthur's disease advances, his cores drain faster. He needs more food to maintain the same level of function. The food economy becomes a losing battle. You're eating more and more just to stay even, and eventually even that isn't enough. The disease is expressed through the food system, making Arthur's decline tangible through gameplay. The weight loss that accompanies tuberculosis is visible on Arthur's body. No matter how much you feed him, he gets thinner. The food economy's visual feedback becomes heartbreaking. You're watching a man waste away despite your best efforts. The system that let you customize Arthur's appearance through diet now shows you his deterioration. The food economy becomes a mirror reflecting mortality. Some players try to fight the disease through food. They stuff Arthur with every meal they can find, desperately trying to maintain his weight, refusing to accept the inevitable. The food economy allows this denial, this hope, this futile resistance. You can spend Arthur's final chapters obsessively managing his diet, and the game will let you. It won't save him, but it will let you try. Other players accept the disease and let Arthur decline. They stop managing his weight, stop optimizing his diet, let the tuberculosis take its course. The food economy allows this acceptance too. You can watch Arthur waste away without intervention, experiencing his decline as he experiences it. The food economy supports both responses to mortality, resistance, and acceptance. The final missions strip away the food economy's importance. When Arthur is making his last stand, when the story is reaching its climax, nobody cares about his weight or his cause. The food economy fades into the background as the narrative takes over. The systems that govern dozens of hours of gameplay become irrelevant in the face of the story's conclusion. The food economy knows when to step aside. This is what makes RDR2's food economy genuinely special. It's not just a survival mechanic bolted onto an action game. It's a system that serves the narrative, that creates character moments, that makes you feel the physical reality of Arthur's existence. When Arthur eats, you feel like you're taking care of him. When he's hungry, you feel responsible. The food economy creates emotional investment through mechanical engagement. The comparison to other games highlights how unusual this approach is. Most open-world games have health items. You pick up medkits, you eat food, your health regenerates. The items are interchangeable, the system is simple, the engagement is minimal. RDR2 asks you to think about nutrition, about weight, about the specific effects of specific foods. It asks you to care about what Arthur eats, not just that he eats. Some players find this tedious. The constant need to manage cores, to maintain weight, to cook and eat and monitor. It can feel like busy work. The game is asking for engagement that not everyone wants to provide. This is a valid criticism. Not every player wants to manage a cowboy's diet. Some people just want to shoot outlaws and rob trains. The tedium criticism deserves serious consideration because it points to a real tension in RDR2's design. The food economy adds depth, but depth has costs. Every system you add is a system players have to learn, have to manage, have to engage with. Some players love this complexity. Others find it exhausting. RDR2 made a choice to prioritize simulation over accessibility, and that choice has consequences. The game does provide ways to minimize food economy engagement. You can largely ignore weight and just eat when your cores get low. You can buy provisions instead of hunting. You can use restaurants instead of cooking. The food economy has an easy mode built in. It's just less optimal than full engagement. Players who don't want to manage Arthur's diet can mostly avoid it, accepting slightly worse performance in exchange for less micromanagement. But the game clearly wants you to engage. The tutorials explain the systems. The challenges reward mastery. The visual feedback on Arthur's body shows consequences. RDR2 isn't neutral about its food economy. It's proud of it. It wants you to use it. It designed the entire game around the assumption that you would. Players who ignore the food economy are playing against the game's intentions, even if the game allows it. The comparison to other Rockstar games is instructive. GTA 5 has no food economy. You can play for hundreds of hours without ever thinking about what your character eats. Health regenerates automatically. There's no weight system, no cores, no cooking. GTA 5 is a power fantasy where bodily needs don't exist. RDR2 is a survival simulation where bodily needs are central. Same developer, completely different approaches. This reflects the different fantasies the games serve. GTA 5 is about being a criminal mastermind in a modern city. Eating is irrelevant to that fantasy. RDR2 is about being an outlaw in the dying West. Survival is central to that fantasy. The food economy exists because it serves the experience Rockstar wanted to create. It's not arbitrary complexity, it's thematic complexity. The modding community has created alternatives for players who want different food economy experiences. Mods that remove the weight system, mods that slow core drain, mods that make food more effective. The existence of these mods confirms that some players find the vanilla food economy too demanding, but it also confirms that the system is modular enough to adjust. Players can customize their experience to match their preferences, but for players who embrace it, the food economy adds tremendous depth. It makes the world feel real in ways that simpler systems can't achieve. It creates emergent stories. The time you ran out of food during a long journey, the time you overate and Arthur got fat, the time you survived a brutal winter on nothing but canned peaches. These moments stick with you because they emerge from systems, not scripts. The food economy also serves the game's themes. RDR2 is about the end of the frontier, about civilization encroaching on the wild. The food economy embodies this tension. You can live off the land, hunting and foraging like the old ways. Or you can buy your meals in town, participating in the commercial economy that's replacing the frontier. How you feed Arthur is a statement about which world he belongs to. Dutch's gang is caught between these worlds. They talk about freedom and living outside society's rules, but they depend on that society for supplies, for fences to sell stolen goods, for towns to rob. The food economy reflects this contradiction. The gang hunts and forages, but they also buy provisions from stores. They're not truly self-sufficient. They're outlaws who still need the civilization they claim to reject. The attention to period-appropriate food adds historical texture. Canned goods were a relatively recent innovation in 1899, and the game includes them as the convenient but inferior option they would have been. Salted meat, dried goods, preserved foods. These were how people actually ate when refrigeration didn't exist. The food economy isn't just mechanically interesting. It's historically grounded in ways that enhance immersion. The regional food differences add geographic flavour. Different areas have different animals, different plants, different culinary traditions. The bayou offers alligator meat. The mountains offer elk and bear. The plains offer bison and pronghorn. Where you are determines what you can eat, and this makes each region feel distinct. The food economy is another way the game differentiates its environments. The Heartlands serve as the food economy's tutorial region. Deer are plentiful, herbs are common, the environment is forgiving. New players learn the food system in a region designed to teach it gently. The Heartlands are the food economy's easy mode. Lemoyne's swamps offer exotic options, but also exotic dangers. Alligators provide meat, but also threaten your life. The bayou's food economy is risk and reward intertwined. You can eat well in Lemoyne, but you might get eaten yourself. The grizzly's harsh environment makes food more precious. Animals are harder to find, cold drains cores faster, survival is more demanding. The mountain food economy is the game at its most survival-focused. Players who venture into the grizzlies unprepared learn hard lessons about the food system's importance. Amberino's frozen landscapes create unique food challenges. The cold affects everything: your cores, your horse, your ability to hunt effectively. The food economy in Amberino is about preparation and endurance. You need to bring food with you because finding it there is difficult. West Elizabeth offers a transitional food economy. It's wilder than the Heartlands, but more forgiving than the Grizzlies. The region serves players who've mastered the basics and are ready for moderate challenge. The food economy scales with geography. New Austin's desert environment, accessible in the epilogue, presents the food economy's final variation. Different animals, different plants, different survival challenges. Players who've spent dozens of hours mastering the food system in green environments must adapt to arid conditions. Pearson's recipes represent the gang's culinary culture. He makes stew from whatever's available, adapting to circumstances, making do with what the hunters bring back. His complaints about ingredients, his pride when the stew is good. These small character moments emerge from the food system. Pearson isn't just a menu interface. He's a character whose role is defined by his relationship to food. Pearson's backstory adds depth to his culinary role. He was a Navy cook before joining the gang, and he brings that experience to camp cooking. His complaints about ingredients aren't just flavour text, they reflect a professional's frustration with limited resources. When Pearson has good ingredients, he's proud of his work. When he's working with scraps, he's embarrassed. The food economy gives Pearson a character arc expressed through cooking. The other gang members have their own relationships with food. Some complain when the camp is low on supplies. Some thank Arthur when he donates. Some have specific food preferences mentioned in dialogue. The food economy creates a web of social relationships centered on eating. Camp isn't just a base of operations, it's a community that shares meals, and the food economy makes that community feel real. Miss Grimshaw manages the camp's domestic operations, including food distribution. Her comments about camp supplies reflect the food economy's state. When supplies are good, she's satisfied. When supplies are low, she's worried. The food economy affects NPC behaviour and dialogue, creating a responsive world that acknowledges your contributions or neglects. Uncle's laziness extends to food. He eats from the stew pot but rarely contributes to the food supply. This is consistent with his character. He's a freeloader, taking from the community without giving back. The food economy reinforces character traits through mechanical behaviour. Uncle's relationship with food tells you something about Uncle. Sadie Adler's transformation is partly expressed through food. Early in the game, she's grieving, barely eating, withdrawn from camp life. As she recovers, she becomes more active, more engaged, more present at meals. The food economy provides a subtle way to track her emotional journey. Her relationship with eating reflects her relationship with living. The food economy even extends to Arthur's appearance. His weight affects how he looks. Underweight Arthur has visible ribs, a gaunt face, a hungry look. Overweight Arthur has a fuller figure, rounder cheeks, a well-fed appearance. The visual feedback reinforces the mechanical system. You can see the consequences of your dietary choices on Arthur's body. This visual feedback creates unexpected roleplay opportunities. Some players deliberately keep Arthur underweight for the rugged, hardened outlaw look. Others fatten him up for the prosperous, successful, criminal aesthetic. The food economy becomes a character customization tool, a way to express your vision of who Arthur is through how you feed him. The clothing system interacts with weight in subtle ways. Some outfits look different on underweight versus overweight Arthur. The visual design accounts for body variation, making clothes fit differently based on Arthur's condition. The food economy affects fashion, creating another layer of customization through diet. The photography mode captures these visual differences beautifully. Players share screenshots of their Arthur, gaunt and weathered, or well-fed and prosperous. The food economy creates visual variety that enriches the game's screenshot culture. Your Arthur looks different from other players' Arthurs, partly because of how you fed him. The animation system responds to Arthur's weight as well. Overweight Arthur moves slightly differently than underweight Arthur. The animations are subtle but present, another layer of physical simulation that the food economy enables. Rockstar animated multiple body types and tied them to the food system. The NPC reactions to Arthur's appearance include weight-based comments. Strangers might comment on Arthur looking thin or well-fed. These reactions are rare but present, another way the game acknowledges the food economy's effects. The world notices what you eat, even if it doesn't always say so. The mirror interactions let Arthur examine himself, including his weight. Standing before a mirror, you can see the consequences of your dietary choices reflected back. The food economy has a literal reflection, a moment of self-examination built into the game's systems. The journal entries sometimes reference food and eating. Arthur writes about meals, about hunting, about the satisfaction of providing for the camp. The food economy enters Arthur's inner life through his journal, becoming part of his character's thoughts and reflections. The bizarre food economy of Red Dead Redemption 2 is ultimately a statement about what kind of game Rockstar wanted to make. They wanted a simulation, not just an action game. They wanted systems that create immersion, not just mechanics that create challenge. They wanted players to live in their world, not just play through it. The food economy is one expression of that ambition. Strange, detailed, occasionally tedious, but undeniably committed to its vision. When you sit at a campfire cooking venison, as the sun sets over the heartlands, the food economy transforms from a system into an experience. You're not managing stats. You're living a moment. The meat sizzles, the fire crackles. Arthur settles into a comfortable position. The game has created space for you to just exist in its world, and the food economy is part of what makes that space feel real. That's the genius of RDR2's approach. The bizarre, overcomplicated, occasionally frustrating food economy serves a purpose beyond its mechanics. It makes Arthur feel like a person who needs to eat, not a video game character who consumes health items. It makes the world feel like a place where survival matters, not a playground where consequences don't exist. It makes the experience feel like life, not just gameplay. And when Arthur finally rests, when his story ends on that mountain, you remember all the meals you shared with him, the campfire cooking sessions, the saloon dinners, the desperate moments eating canned food during firefights. The food economy created a relationship between player and character that transcends typical game mechanics. You fed this man for dozens of hours. You kept him alive. You cared about his well-being in a way that simpler games never achieve. That's the bizarre food economy of Red Dead Redemption 2. Overcomplicated, historically grounded, mechanically demanding, emotionally resonant. It's everything wrong and everything right about Rockstar's approach to game design, wrapped up in a system about eating beans and cooking venison. It shouldn't work as well as it does, but somehow, impossibly, it does. The legacy of RDR2's food economy extends beyond the game itself. It influenced how other developers think about survival mechanics in narrative games. It proved that complex systems can coexist with emotional storytelling. It showed that players will engage with detailed simulations if those simulations serve the experience. The food economy isn't just a feature, it's a statement about what games can be. Other games have tried similar approaches with varying success. Some have copied the core system without understanding why it works. Others have learned the right lessons and created their own meaningful survival mechanics. The food economy's influence is visible across the industry, in games that take bodily needs seriously, and games that integrate survival with narrative. The speedrunning community has an interesting relationship with the food economy. Speedrunners need to manage Arthur's cores efficiently to maintain performance, but they also need to minimize time spent eating. The optimal speedrun strategy involves careful food management, eating the right things at the right times to maintain cause without wasting seconds. The food economy becomes a puzzle to solve, a system to optimize, a challenge within the larger challenge of completing the game quickly. The roleplay community has embraced the food economy enthusiastically. Players who want to live as Arthur, not just play as him, find the food system essential to their experience. Eating meals at appropriate times, cooking at campfires, maintaining realistic eating patterns. The food economy supports immersive roleplay in ways that simpler systems couldn't. For these players, the food economy isn't tedious, it's the point. The photography community uses the food economy for visual storytelling. Screenshots of Arthur cooking at sunset, images of camp meals with the gang, moments of eating in beautiful locations. The food economy creates photogenic situations that players capture and share. The visual design of cooking animations, of food items, of eating behaviours, all of it contributes to the game's screenshot culture. The streaming community has mixed feelings about the food economy. Some streamers embrace it, making cooking and eating part of their content. Others find it interrupts the flow of gameplay, forcing pauses that don't make good viewing. The food economy's impact on content creation varies by creator and audience. It's another example of how the system serves some players better than others. The critical reception of the food economy was divided at launch and remains divided today. Some reviewers praise the depth and immersion. Others criticize the tedium and micromanagement. The food economy became a litmus test for how players and critics felt about RDR2's broader design philosophy. If you love the food economy, you probably love the game. If you hated it, you probably had reservations about the whole experience. Years after release, the food economy remains a topic of discussion. Players still debate whether it adds or detracts from the experience. New players still discover its depths and share their reactions. The food economy has become part of RDR2's identity, inseparable from what the game is and what it means. You can't talk about RDR2 without eventually talking about eating. The future of food economies in games is uncertain. Will other developers follow Rockstar's lead and create similarly complex systems? Will players demand this level of detail in future open-world games? Or will the food economy remain a unique experiment, admired but not replicated? The answers will shape how games handle survival mechanics for years to come. What's certain is that RDR2's food economy represents a high watermark for the concept. No other game has integrated eating so thoroughly into its systems, its narrative, its themes, its world. The food economy is excessive, demanding, occasionally frustrating, and also brilliant, immersive, unforgettable. It's the kind of design choice that only Rockstar would make, and it's part of why RDR2 stands alone in the gaming landscape. When you think about Red Dead Redemption 2, you think about Arthur Morgan, you think about the gang, the story, the world, but you also think about cooking venison at campfires. You think about eating stew with your family. You think about the weight of survival, the necessity of food, the strange intimacy of keeping a virtual person fed. The food economy made Arthur real in ways that matter. It made his world real. It made the experience real. That's the bizarre food economy of Red Dead Redemption 2. A system that shouldn't exist, in a game that shouldn't work, creating experiences that shouldn't be possible. And yet here we are, years later, still talking about it, still thinking about it, still remembering the meals we shared with the dying outlaw in a world that was ending. Rest now, partner. dinner's ready.